Far Cry 5 is hands down one of my most favorite games that I've ever played. But since the Big 25 is almost coming to an end, I was wondering if Far Cry 5 is still good to this very day. To answer my own question, I obviously went back to play it for a few hours, and yes, I do think Far Cry 5 is still a good game. What's the crack, everybody? It's Caleb Gamings, and today in this video, I am going to review Far Cry 5 7 years later, and to see if it's still a good game to play. So sit back, relax, get a drink or something. I will be reviewing a couple of topics such as the gameplay, story stuff, and how much fun you have when playing it. So yeah, let's get into it. Far Cry 5 is an action and adventure story-based game that takes place in 2018 in Hope County, Montana. The game consists of a militaristic doomsday cult led by the infamous Joseph Seed and his family members. Now, me personally, I think Far Cry 5's story is a really well-written, well-done story. It was so well done it inspired me to make my own depiction of it, Civil War 23/7. But Far Cry 5's story does have some downsides to it. For example, you play as a nameless protagonist who is just referred to as Rook. The only thing you can do is just customize them. But overall, Far Cry 5 does have a really interesting story, and I enjoyed every second of it. It was a masterpiece in my eyes. I truly loved that game and how it's the only Far Cry to take place in American country. But enough story talk. When it comes to gameplay, Far Cry 5 doesn't really disappoint in my eyes. The gameplay is super easy and pretty fun. I spent countless hours playing this game, and it really hooks you right in with its gameplay features and all that. The helicopters and planes are really easy to control. That's all I had to say control-wise for the game, but the graphics in this game, the graphics are beautiful in this game. I'm still stunned by looking at these graphics when flying over the horizon with helicopters. The people at Ubisoft really did a good job at portraying the American vibe in this game. And yeah, like I said earlier, Far Cry 5 is the only Far Cry game to take place in America. And as I just said, I think it really captures the vibe in this game, the American vibe. But yeah, that's about all for gameplay-wise in Far Cry 5. In summary, I think Far Cry 5's gameplay is really fun. It kept me entertained for countless of hours. And if you're someone who likes shooters, open-world games, and great stories, I think Far Cry 5 is a perfect game for you. Now, let's move on to our next chapter. Like I said earlier, Far Cry 5's story is a really well done, well performed, and well written story in my eyes. And yeah, I said there were some downsides to it. For example, the protagonist, like I said, is nameless, just called Rook, and you can just customize them and all that. But when looking at the actual story, I felt so entertained by playing this game. For example, the opening scene of this game really hooks you right into this game, and that's what I really love about it. And then yeah, it gets a little bit dull from there. It gives you the tutorial, and then the game mostly focuses on gameplay in my eyes. Although it is a really unique story in my opinion, I really like the fact that the people you are fighting in this game are not just plain old soldiers working for people. Instead, these people are brainwashed members of a militaristic doomsday cult, to which I find it to be a really unique approach to a main antagonist. And speaking of antagonists, this game's antagonist does not disappoint. Joseph Seed is by far one of my most favorite antagonists in a video game to ever go up against. I think Joseph Seed is a really well-written character, and I've heard many people say that he is Far Cry's most realistic villain, and I definitely agree with that. Out of all Far Cry antagonists, Joseph Seed is probably the most likely to happen. And you know what? It did happen. You got people like David Koresh with the Branch Davidians that caused the Waco siege back in 1993. And I've read about the Waco siege, and it's basically just real life Far Cry 5. You got a militaristic cult, guns blazing with the US government, and that was pretty hectic. That's all I have to say about story-wise. After you're done the main story, Far Cry 5 just becomes a little bit dull to play, but it is worth a replay. I'm currently replaying it and I'm still having fun. In summary, Far Cry 5 story is just a great story, and if I had the chance to replay it again without the stuff I already know, I would, because it was absolutely mind-blowing the first time I played it. When Far Cry 5 compares to other Far Cry games, it is definitely up there as one of the best Far Cry games. But people are more likely to agree that Far Cry 3 is the best Far Cry game. And yeah, I get it. Far Cry 3 is a really energetic and really awesome game. I had a great experience when playing that game, but my personal opinion, I like Far Cry 5. Far Cry 5 is my most favorite Far Cry game. And Far Cry 4 is definitely an underrated gem, but I don't think it's not as good as Far Cry 5. Far Cry 4, though, I'll give it some credit with its character development and its villain, Pagan Min. But I'm really most likely like Far Cry 5. And many people will probably agree with me on that one, Far Cry 5. Well, I'm done with that topic. I mostly just added it in there because I couldn't think of anything else to add. And so let's move on to our final conclusion and my review of the game. In conclusion, Far Cry 5 will definitely be one of the best Far Cry games, and it is definitely an amazing game to still play in 2025. Far Cry 5 is 7 years old, and its detail is still amazing, its graphics are still stunning, and the gameplay is still pretty fun. Alright, so here's my final review. Far Cry 5 in general deserves an 8.5 out of 10. It is a great game to this very day, and it's still worth it to play in 2025. If you haven't played Far Cry 5, I suggest you go buy it. It's a great game. This game really entertained me, and the music, the graphics, the villain are all stunning. This game is truly awesome. If you never played Far Cry 5, I suggest you go play it. Just wait until its price goes on sale. When it goes on sale, its price is basically a steal. But yeah, overall, great game. Pricing is not that bad when it goes on sale. And it's just in general a fun game to experience. But yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to like and subscribe, as this video took forever to make. But yeah, I'll see ya.